everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is InsideAgameR. Welcome back to Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020 here in my tutorial series. I was asked a lot on my last A320 tutorial that a lot of people wanted to know how to cold start the CJ4. The Cessna CJ4, which we have here in front of us. We're in Donegal Airport up here in kind of the northwest of Ireland. This is one of the handcrafted airports. It's beautiful for here, which is very nice. And so basically, yeah, that's what we're going to go through. We're going to go for a quick guide here on how to get this going. Now, I'm going to warn you, there are a lot of bugs. The ILS clearly does not work, hence why I cut out my last video. I'm not going to do an ILS landing video for you for a while because it's pointless. They are terrible. But, you know, we can look at other things. And to be honest with you, now that you know the ILS does not work, it's kind of easier for you now to manually land because you know that's what you have to do. Okay, so what we're going to do, we're going to go straight into the flight deck here. And look, there's a lot of buttons in this plane. A lot of this stuff does not work. It's all kind of show at the moment. It might change, it might not, I don't know. It's not my favorite plane. I'm not too clued up with this plane, but obviously there's not a lot of jets here, so a lot of people want to learn how to fly this. So what you're going to do, get rid of the yoke. Now actually starting these engines are extremely simple. First things first, down here, parking brake. Make sure it's set, so it's pulled out. So we've got our parking brake is now set. Perfect, okay. So just go through the panels very quickly. This panel here will be mainly for your autopilot. Obviously these are your flight kind of director screens, engine screens. Here is kind of your power. Down here obviously is your FMC. You have your lighting here. We have our engine start here. We got our throttles. And if we just take a little look at that, we have a speed brake here. We got our throttles and our flaps. This one doesn't work here. So look, we do actually have 3 notches here. So when we take off, climb, and cruising. Now this plane does overspeed. It is like a rocket going down. So as soon as you kind of get off the ground, you're literally going to change it into climb. But there is absolutely no clicks. So we have to eyeball this. So this is going to be a bit interesting. And obviously our gear up. And that's about all we need to know for this aeroplane. Okay, so to get it started, we're going to go over to our electrical panel, which is what it's called. You want to make sure your generators are on. They start on the on position, but if you want to switch it off and on, you're more than welcome. Now you got emergency or battery on. You want to make sure your battery master is on. You're going to get your master caution here, and it's okay. Okay, and then you're going to go down to your avionics, and you're going to switch them on. Again, master caution warning, and this one doesn't, for some reason, doesn't light up. But we're going to click that as well. It stops the beeping noise. You can see I've made a very small flight plan here. The next airport is only 40 nautical miles, so it is very, very short. The FMC, now this is one thing I'm not very good with this plane, and I'll be honest with you, it doesn't really work. There's a lot of bits in here. I don't know if they are working or not working. But basically, I have put in a flight plan. If we click on flight plan, EIDL, which is where we are now, going to EGAE. So it is in there, and that's the one that we've done ourselves. We don't really need to do too much of that, but we'll talk about that in a second. Okay, so look, we need to get the engines on before the batteries die because we don't have any auxiliary power connected to this. So this is very, very simple. You're going to go down here, and you're going to click right engine. You always start with the right engine. And you're going to go back up to your screen, and you're going to watch the N2 go up to 20%. Once we hit 20%, we are going to run the engine. If we had a look on the outside now, the engine should be spoiling up. As you can see here, it is starting to spoil. Okay, we're at 20%. So now what we need to do is run back down here. We're going to lift up this guard. There's a piece of plastic here. And we're going to run. And we can hear the engine in the background now. Oh, God, sorry about the camera there, guys. So as you can see, we get that one ready. They have these little flaps. Okay, now that is starting to increase there. We're going to get to some stable pressures, which is lovely. Okay, what we can do now is hitting over 40. You know what, we can just start our left engine as well. We want to get up in the air. And the master caution will come on for that. And we're just going to reset that quickly. And again, we're watching the same thing here. We're waiting for this to hit 20%. Oil pressures are looking good. Okay, lovely. We're hitting our 20%, and we're going to hit run. And we're going to let now the second engine, engine number 1, start turning on. Lovely. That's basically it. That is it for the engine startup. It is very simple on this plane. It looks a lot more complicated than it is. It really isn't. It's very, very simple. Okay. So we're going to go down to this flight plan. Like I said, I'm not particularly 100% sure of it. We can add a few things. Say if we want to put in a flight number, say if we were 125, I don't know, KLM. You know, we're not KLM obviously, but we can put anything into here if you wish. You can put an alternative route. I don't know which one's close by. We can have a look at the flight plan. The departure and arrival, but we're not going to touch that. I plan to go into runway 8, but we're going to eyeball that stuff. Like I said, the ILS does not work. It's just not worth wasting our time with any of that stuff. So I'm not going to talk about this too much. We're basically going to be following the pink line, and that's going to be it. Now, you can see here we have no altitude selected, so we do want to get that set up. So up here, we've got a couple of knobs up here now. Let's talk about this. So that is if we were going to do our course. Say if we were running on ATC, they'd say flight, whatever we were there, KLM, please follow heading 150. We would change the heading here to 150. That's what this one does. But we do want to turn on our flight director. As you can see, the pink lines have come up now, so that will follow hopefully these pink lines here in a minute. Okay, so we've got our speed, so we can, but this doesn't really work on this, so we're going to look after our own speed, unfortunately, manually. So do remember that. Navigation mode, we want to be turned on. Navigation on, okay? That will make sure it follows our GPS. Heading select on, okay, so we don't need to do that because we're not following headings. That's to do with this. Sorry, got that completely wrong. Ignore what I said, but that's about the course. That's more for landing. It's not worried about that. Sorry, but that's what I meant for this one. The heading. So if you have heading on and ATC say 150, you'll change this to make sure that equals 150, and the plane will follow that. Okay, altitude. Altitude hold is what we want. Now, I'm going to start flicking this, and you're going to see we don't want to be going very high. Say we're going to go about 2,500. So you can see that it's now moved up to that. We're going to leave that. And we're going to want altitude hold on. So we're going to leave it off for a second because we're going to climb and turn it on. So look, we're going to make sure that's set to what we want, 2500. Autopilot button, that's to engage it. And this is our flight director on for the other side. That's all we kind of need to know. That was a little bit confusing. I do apologize. Okay, so look, we're good to taxi out. We're literally going to go straight out of here. That's where we're landing at EGAE. Okay, so yeah, we're good to go. Now what we can do is set our flaps to takeoff, which is about 15 degrees, which is lovely. We can have a look on the outside. Perfect. And what we're going to do now is we're going to request that pushback. Shift P, we're going to get our pushback put in, and we'll have a look at these guys. I don't know if this trolley thing actually works. We're going to see. I've had very bad luck with these trolley things. They've not worked really at all for me. But we will see. We'll see if this works. I am not using ATC for this, obviously, either. We have ATC off. Okay. He's completely missed the plane. Wow. Like I said, the pushback is not great. Right. I think we're just going to do this ourselves. I have no idea what that guy is doing. And that kind of sums up a lot of this with the jets. Okay, we're just going to spin this around ourselves, alright guys? So we've taken off that. We're going to put on a bit of throttle. Hopefully it turns well on the spot. Okay, hang on. I think because this fella's here, I think we're having problems now with our own pushback. Wow. Maybe I can bring up ATC and I can cancel him. Okay.
All ground, Cessna Alpha Sierra X-Ray Golf Sierra requesting the end of pushback. Cessna Alpha Sierra X-Ray Golf Sierra request to end pushback received.
Okay, so we got rid of our pushback. We're going to turn around ourselves. It's not pretty. It wouldn't even do the other pushback for us. Okay, now we're kind of where we want to be. Now this is a very, very fast plane, so we are going to probably overspeed at some point here. Like, this will not be a perfect by any means. Like I said, I'm not a professional with this plane. I'm not professional at all in general, but definitely not with this plane. So we're going to go down to the end of the runway here. We're going to go turn it around and we're going to go for a takeoff. Okay, while we're here, we do need to turn on some more lights very, very quickly. We didn't turn any of them on. I told you about them, but didn't do them. Okay, so we want our taxi lights on, our landing lights on, logo, strobe, nav, beacon. We can throw on our pulse lights now as well for safety. Flaps and everything are set. Okay, so we are good for our taxi. I said this is like a rocket. This will absolutely thunder down here, so it's going to be very quick from the moment we get going. Hopefully it's going to let us turn here. We'll do a bit of toe brake and skidding. Okay, so we're going to stay down here now. We want to be hitting about 150 on well, 140 would be good for takeoff. Okay, what we're going to do now, 40%. Engines are looking positive. Full throttle. Wow, look at the speed of this. Okay, we're already at nearly 100 knots. 100 knots. 140. And rotate. Okay, straight away we're going to want our gears up.
Cessna X-Ray Golf Sierra, you were not cleared to take off.
And I forgot to clear us off with ATC, but let's not worry about them. Okay, now like I said, we need to straight away bring this back to climb. We're going to throw on our autopilot, which we have, and our altitude hold. And that should start bringing us down. We're already climbing way above what we should be, so that'll bring us back down. And flick it to navigation mode. For some reason it didn't sort itself out. There we go. As we leave Donegal. Very low flight. Like I said, it's not perfect. Things kind of go wrong. Okay, it's probably telling us we're over speeding. What's wrong with our landing gear? Right. Okay, so bit of a bug here. It's telling us the landing gear is stuck. Oh, don't mean to move them. And we're going to move it back down to cruise because look, we're already at 270 knots. Like I said, this is a rocket. Very. I don't know what it wants us to do about this landing gear. Okay, we're going to make sure our flaps are up now too. And then we'll try again with our landing gear, because I'm not entirely sure what happened. like I said, a lot of bugs still to play with this. So what you need is your altitude. There you go. So it's taking me to the altitude, and the speed is way too fast because we are diving now to hit our altitude. So we got to keep an eye on our throttles ourselves. 100% now. I should have probably put it on around 5,000 feet. Okay, try our landing gear up again this time. And I'm going to bring up our VMAP because, like I said, we're not going particularly far. Here it is. Perfect. Very, very short flight for you guys, just so you can get the gist of this. But again, it's not holding to the altitude that I asked for. For some reason it went up. So look, we'll bring it back down. I mean, you know, we're okay. Altitude on. Okay, so this is where it kind of wants to sit. That's fine, we'll let it sit there. So this plane has a lot of manual flying to it at the moment with all the bugs, unfortunately. Like I said, the FMC, I can't really get to work, and it's very jittery on the autopilot, I noticed as well. There we go. So, looking lovely out here. Now when we prepare for landing, it's mainly going to be, again I'm off on the speed, mainly things that we're going to look at here are flaps. We have flaps that already have a takeoff and landing kind of setting, which is great. We're going to watch our speeds, basically. That's the main thing here. We'll have to eyeball the runway. And I have the engines on about quarter power at the moment because we're so low. Really you should be flying high with this jet. Now this altitude hold off. Why don't you want to? I don't know why you don't want to. We can take the speed up a little bit more. This one, you know, about 300 knots you can actually do on this. Like I said, it's a very short flight, 40 nautical miles. It's very, very short. I'm surprised we can't even see the airport yet. But there we go, we can see some beautiful views of Ireland while we're kind of waiting. And so this is a very basic tutorial. It's really hard to do these tutorials when nothing's working. But I hope you do appreciate the effort. I am trying. So I'm keeping all landing lights and stuff on because we're under 10,000 feet. Apparently we can't go any lower than 4,700. That's fine. It's probably programmed in the FMC. It's probably fighting me. Again, we're looking at overspeed. Just take it easy a little bit. Have a look at our VFR map. We're pretty much there now. We need to start thinking about landing. Not sure where the runway is here. Okay, so it looks a bit broken. Well, that's not good. So we're going to be coming straight in. We need to deviate just a little bit off the line here. And we're going to come in around this angle. Don't really want to use ATC, so they might tell us off. I just want to kind of show you. I want to see if I can actually land this thing. Okay, so the airport will be just over here somewhere. It's not going to be far. We will have to deviate a little bit. Island's looking lovely though. Definitely do some more VFR stuff out here. We're obviously in Northern Ireland now. Okay. Now what would be really nice is if we can drop our altitude here. But you really can't, can you? That's so weird. That's so weird. Okay, we need to start taking down our speed here. Keep an eye out for the airport. It is literally there in front of us, isn't it?